am up so high, I can see my house. People running around like a little mouse. All this moving around, it's got too much. I just wanna stop and feel your touch. And it's alright, alright, alright now. It's alright, 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 alright now.
In today's market in 2022, both performing on stage and live streaming has become the norm. Now, since the pandemic, there's been a lot of different products that have helped musicians, so it makes it easier for them to live stream, but also get them a great sound, whilst at the same time reducing the clutter and the amount of things you have to take with you. Enter this. This is the Sonnet 60 by Blackstar. Now, the Sonnet 60 and its bigger brother, the Sonnet 120, are part of a range of speakers that have come out over the past 18 months to 2 years that are compact, lightweight and powerful, but at the same time have a lot of technology built into them. And this one's got a nice trick up its sleeve. So right now I've got a microphone above me so you can hear me talking in my normal talking voice.
And then right now, this is actually me coming in through the Sonnet 60. So this Sonnet 60 has two inputs. It's one jack and one combi. If you want two combis, that's the Sonnet 120. The Sonnet 60 is a 60 watt amp, and it's an acoustic amp with a 6.5 inch speaker and one tweeter. The Sonnet 120 has an 8 inch speaker and two tweeters. And then my guitar, I'm just going to turn back up, which you heard at the beginning. It's coming through the 1/4 inch jack on input number 1, and then the vocal is coming through on input number 2. What's really nice on both of them is you've got EQ for both, you've got the gain for both, and you've actually got studio quality reverb, and you've got independent control for each channel. Also, it doesn't just stop with one reverb, it's actually got two. So right now it's completely flat, and we've got a whole reverb. And I'm going to turn this up. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hello, hello. And I can adjust the amount for each one. And then we also have a plate reverb, which is a little bit darker and also a little bit shorter as well. 1 2. Now, it doesn't just stop there. Regarding the shape of the sound, there are two cool things that come with this, and they're built in. One is, which is literally called shape. And what it does is it has a little bit of compression and EQ built into it, and you can do it independently for the vocal and also the guitar. So let's start with the guitar. I'm just going to play a couple of chords, and then I'm going to turn shape on. Now, the other part of this for the guitar is you've got another button which is called phase, and this is to make sure you don't get feedback, which is really, really handy. So that's with the phase on and the shape on, and then with the phase on but the shape off. Now you see from the top-down camera that basically I've got the EQ set completely flat for the guitar, and we've only got the gain up and the reverb amount in, which of course I've got dialed down on the master of the reverb, which is here. 1 2. Now the other thing you've got for the vocal is you've also got a shape as well. So this is me talking 1 2 1 2, and this is me singing. And then this is with the shape in a little bit more on the lower end. So I've turned the shape on for both, and when you mix all this together and you add the reverb in as well, it just picks up the guitar incredibly well, and also we've got some really nice sounds. Now, as you can see there, I've turned the reverb completely down on the vocal, but it's still there on the guitar. That's really handy as well, certainly if you want to speak to an audience. And the other two things you've got for the whole mix as well is you've got a high-pass filter, and I do a lot of rhythmic things with the looper. So I don't really want to turn that high-pass filter on too much, but if you've got something that's really boomy, You could do that, it depends on what microphone you've got, because it is for the whole mix. And the other one you've got as well is Brilliance, and that obviously just makes it a lot brighter as well. For me, I love the shape sound. I think it's fantastic, and why would you not have it on? It's basically boosting you even more in the right frequencies. It's really nice. Now, my studio is a small room right now, so I've got this around about a third of the way up. It's 60 watts, and believe me, when you turn it up full, it is blasting loud. I don't know how they're doing this. I don't know how they're getting the sound out of this small speaker like this. It's just the technology and the way it moves forward. It's really, really good. It comes in two colors. This is the blonde color, and there's also a black color. I really like this color, by the way. And when you look at the box, it actually says 4 inputs. So you'll notice I've not talked about the final switch, and that final switch is Bluetooth. So you can turn the Bluetooth on by doing that. And then what happens is it then searches for a Bluetooth device. Let's say we're playing at a cafe or a wedding, or you're doing 2 45-minute sets and you need a little bit of music in between. You can just get your phone, get a playlist on, maybe of your own stuff or covers. And of course, then you can play that as well. Now, everything you've been hearing right now, obviously from the microphone and guitar, is coming from the speaker. It's not actually coming from the speaker itself. I'm listening to it from the speaker, but you're listening to it from the back. And the back of the amp has a couple of nice features, starting with a foot switch. So you can actually get a 2-pedal foot switch from Blackstar, and what that does is one either mute, or the other one is mute the reverb. So you can actually turn the reverb on and off, and the other one is actually muting the inputs. It's really handy if you want to change guitars, or you obviously are just like muting the microphone. You can actually mute it in between sets. That's really handy. And then also if you just want to turn the reverb off, as opposed to what I've been doing, which is dialing this up and down all the time, just when I speak to you, you could just turn it off by your foot switch and leave the dial where it is, and then turn it back on again. Really handy if you're speaking to an audience. Now, the next thing on the back is actually MP3 line in. So if you're not using Bluetooth, if you've got an old iPod, for example, or a Zune, you can still plug that in by 1/4-inch jack. Maybe you want to plug in a CD player. You could still do that and control that here, which is fantastic. Next along is the mixed DI output, which the Bluetooth got bored. Next along is the mixed DI output, which is a mix out. This is both left and right stereo out. So you've just got basically channel 1, channel 2, but then it mixes it together. So you've got a mix out if you want to put that to PA. And then this suddenly becomes your monitor, which is fantastic if you're on a bigger stage. But they're going to get the sound of it. They're going to get the full stereo sound, including the reverb, including all the shaping as well. And then finally, as it said in the thumbnail, and as you saw there, it's actually got USB audio. This is USB-B. It's low latency USB audio, and again, it's just a stereo feed out, and you can just get literally left and right. They both come out of the same channel. It's not independent, but what that means is that you can just plug that out to a computer, or you can plug it out to a phone, and you can just start live streaming. So whatever sound you're getting out of this, the audience are getting exactly the same sound, and that is huge because it means you're not having to take an audio interface with you. You're not having to get a load of cables to then out to this to something else that then have to go to something else. I can just take this, my normal equipment, and I can take one extra cable, which is a USB cable, and then the right adapter for my phone, and I can live stream. What I'm actually doing right now, which you can't quite see here, is you might be able to see it on this top down one, is my computer is just there, and I'm actually recording all of the audio that you're hearing on Logic. So Logic even recognizes this as a 2-in audio interface, as well as an amazing amp, and you can then just plug in and away you go. I mean, how simple is that? A couple of years ago, you have to take all this extra equipment with you, and now the amp itself has got USB audio built in, and then you can just go live streaming. And this is obviously a fundamental shift because people want really great sounding amps, but at the same time, they want to live stream, or they want to record it straight into their DAW without having an audio interface. It's a simple solution that I wish I had a couple of years ago. So if you're looking for a brand new amp, this is a fantastic option if you're an acoustic artist, or even if you're looping, I can actually use this no problem. Now, the thing you may notice as well is it's actually angled back a little bit, and that's because there's a really cool little device. It's a little kickstand that's built into it, and you unscrew it just like a huge screw, and it actually lifts the amp up off the ground a little bit. It's really nice if you want to angle it back for better projection. You could even swap that out for an adapter so it can go onto a traditional speaker stand. Now, what are the downsides? The downsides are actually with the limitations of what the 60 can do. You'll notice that input number 1 is a 1/4 inch, and then input number 2 is a combi. and I'd like 2 combis, but that's on the 120. Also, the 120 offers the option for phantom power, and instead of 2 reverbs, which are hall and plate, the 120 has 4 reverbs, which are hall, studio, chamber, and plate. So if you're looking for a little bit more flexibility, maybe you want to plug in something that's basically got 2 XLRs, then the 120 may be your option, but obviously it's a much bigger speaker. If you're looking for portability and you're looking for obviously to plug in just a microphone and a guitar, the 60 is perfect. Now, the other thing I would have really liked to have seen is 2 XLR outs, which are DI. I might get my mix right completely right here for me, but then on a big PA, your vocal or your guitar could be one ahead of the other, and the engineer has no way to change that. They have to rely on you to change that. So if you're using this like a monitor on stage, I would like to see sort of a separate DI for the guitar and a separate DI for the vocal. But that aside, the Sonnet has been carefully designed to reproduce some amazing sound, and it's all about guitar, and it's fantastic because the only way I can get this guitar, which is an APX 500, they don't make these anymore, this is the version 1, they've now got the 600 for Yamaha. The only way I can get this sound like brighter or cleaner other than an EQ is by using some pedals like my TC Helicon Voice Live Play Acoustic. It's got a thing called body res, so it changes the EQ slightly. The shaping on this is kind of what that's doing, but without having to have that pedal. As people of the channel know, I could have like hit the guitar for making sort of percussive noises, as well as playing muted and full chord strumming and a little bit of twiddling as well. And it sounds great for all of them. I've been messing around with it for a little while and it just sounds fab. The other thing that I quite like as well, other than the colour's beautiful, I love the blonde colour, it's great, is the handle. The handle is actually really, really nice as well. It's not a leather one, it looks stitched because obviously it's got that kind of effect on it, but it's like a reinforced kind of plastic rubber kind of one, and it's really handy to carry. It's a great size, certainly if you're just going to go to like a play at a cafe, as I say, or you're playing at like a wedding. You don't want obviously a massive speaker. I've got my Mackie Reach, which is a huge speaker in comparison, because that's like a full PA. But this can be your PA for, you know, a smaller to mid-sized venue. And then the 120 would actually fill an even bigger room. Now, I want to thank Blackstar for sending me this for review. They're not paying for this video. They're not paying me to say anything. They're just sending this and say, hey, please check it out. I think it's fabulous. Would I purchase this? Yes, I totally would. Me personally, for all the added features, I'd actually go for the 120 because I want dual XLRs or I want dual combis. I'd also like that pad option as well. The 60 is fantastic if I was just, even if I was just looping and I just took a basic looper and plugged it in via this, I can still plug 2 jacks in. So I could take even like my Boss RC5 and then this and this, and I'm set. The real cool thing, as I say, is the live streaming stroke recording element of this. And I really love this because it means the sound that you're getting out of this is the sound that you're going to get. We always get on live streams, I get questions going, cool, let's use an audio interface. Can I add a reverb? There's a reverb built in. So imagine a speaker with an audio interface, a reverb built in, and shaping the sound to make it sound fabulous. This is the Blackstar Sonnet 60.